Are all of y'all really watching y'all? Because I think I finally figured out how this shit works. Thank you, YouTube, for being incredibly obtuse with the way you work. Can you see me? Can you see me over there? Because YouTube is telling me that you can see me. And so it kind of did this last time, but not in the same way that it's doing it now. Because it, you know, YouTube and all that. So, my dudes, let me just, I came back yesterday, well really I came back today, because I came back at around 1 in the morning from a week of, well, you know, I'd call it moderate drinking. Americans would probably call it dude, bro, man. But then I am German. Yeah, and the thing is, I mean, this is something that I've said many times, is that when I'm away, when I'm off on the different planets, I do take my cell phone with me, but I don't take my computer with me, and the only way I access social media is YouTube, my computer. I don't use anything but my computer. I don't use my phone for anything but that. No, I don't use my phone for anything but just calling people. And, you know, texting on WhatsApp. On WhatsApp, I'm not... This is today, I'm not yet on the height of things. So yeah, that is why this stream is called What I Miss. Because I feel like in the past 5 days, probably I missed several things. And probably there are a lot of them. I heard through the grapevine while I was away that there was another mass shooting. But, you know, I was gone for a whole 5 days, so really I would have been more surprised if there hadn't been any mass shootings in America. And I seem to have, this is something I'm very sad about, I seem to have not witnessed the prime of the big nigger meme. Because that one was... I liked that one. I saw the first one where you have like the big nigga straight up beats Thanos. And then I saw some today that was so reductionist that it seems that in those 5 days that I was gone, that beautiful meme had its prime, which is no, it's not a similar situation to Roadman Shack last year, because I saw the very first Roadman Shack video one day, and on that same day I flew to Mallorca to visit my grandparents for 2 weeks, which also I had no internet access during that time. And then I came back to find that Roadman Shack was a huge meme. So yeah, that is that. Jesus. Yeah, but I'm gonna look into the chat now. So I'm making it your responsibility now to tell me what I missed, and then maybe I can look into it live on stream. How about that? Instant noodle is poison, you know. Are there now instant noodles that are poison? Is that something that's been found out by science? Watching this Navision therapy office. Well, fucking I hope not. Can we talk about how you fondled my puss? It's unlikely that I have. I'm not denying it. I'm not saying that it's impossible, but I'm saying it's unlikely that you specifically, you know. Bearing's channel got taken down. Yeah, I heard about that. It seems to be, once again, one of those YouTube bullshit things. I assume that it's going to be handled in, like, a few hours to days. Because this happens all the time where someone at YouTube is going to, has their, it's like the guy who blocked Trump, or who banned Trump from Twitter. Somebody goes, oh, we have to ban this dude, and then someone else at YouTube checks it and goes, yeah, well, we don't like him, but, like, we can't go around banning people. So I think that will probably happen. Thanos got wrecked. Yeah, Big Nega straight up beat Thanos, man. North Korea is there. What happened to North Korea? I don't know. cancelled North Korea. So come on. Of course he fucking did. He needs to warmonger. Trump, North Korea summit. What kind of hostility did not wait. So this is like the two top headlines here, right? The BBC one says Trump cancels Kim summit amid North Korean hostility. The CBS summit says Trump calls summit cancellation a tremendous setback. But he made the setback then. But why did he cancel it? Did North Korea do something? Or did is this just Trump? Holy shit, it looks very weird in this picture. Hey Burke, can you speak like Arnie? I don't know who the fuck Arnie is. Besides the Texas shootings, I can't think of anything new. Okay, wasn't that in Santa Fe though? Which, by the way, Santa Fe is a beautiful city. I found out about it recently that they sort of enforce in the city center and all that. They enforce like a certain style that the city has to have, and it's amazing. And now he says that the US is ready for military. Come on. Just, Trump, you made the peace between North and South Korea. What powerful business interests are forcing you to now no longer support the peace between North and South Korea? Jesus fucking Christ. How many more times do you have to nuke Japan to delete anime? I think every more nuke that we drop, anyone drops there, will just lead to more and worse things than anime. To talk about the Descartes era, I have no idea what that is. They already had multiple meetings? No, apparently it says that Trump cancelled, not Kim. Arnold Schwarzenegger. I think I'm the only person in the world who can't do an Arnie accent, to be honest. I can do this, and I can say get to the chopper, but it's not that good. Like, there's a lot of people who can do it better than I can, but then, you know. I think there's two people in the world who can't do an Arnold Schwarzenegger accent, and one of them is me, and the other one is Arnold Schwarzenegger. Basically, the US and SK did South Korea did a military drill, pissed off North Korea, and things. Of course, they did a fucking military drill, because that's not a stupid thing at all. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. The US did a huge military exercise on the North Korean border that pissed them off, and they asked for the US to not do that with bombs, then the news. Okay, so basically, I mean, you know, it might just be me, but this just seems monumentally stupid on the US part. Just, why would you do that? You finally have the option of peace talks, and then you go ahead and aggress them, and then when they say, hey, could you maybe not? Could you, like, not do that? Then the Americans go, no, hey, you should. What the fuck? This those 5 days that I had maybe just took away my fucking, what's it called? What's the word that I'm looking for? But just my tolerance build up to stupid shit that Trump does. I think that's what happened. I suggest checking out Sticks Hex and Hammer's 666 videos on the subject. I might. I'm not subscribed to him. I might know the Descartes era. I'm very bad at remembering the names of things. Burger, you've forgotten the 4D chess of Daddy Trump. This will end in a huge success. Big win. Yeah, probably. Oh wait, can you see that I'm reading the news though? You shouldn't be able to see that. Right? Fucking, you should just be able to see me. Burger, is there any hope left? Oh yes. Oh, definitely. I am very hopeful. I hope that just like all the top people just kind of just die. And then probably more likely are magically replaced by people who are not like them. And that is what's going to happen. I think there is hope left, though. Unironically, I do hope that there is hope left. Things will probably go well. Like they always go well. We're always in these situations as a species where we go, oh no, the world is ending, and then it doesn't end, and it's all gonna be good. But also fucking be afraid because you all might die. And also me too, of course, because I am on this planet and not currently on a space station. Nothing will happen on the Korean Peninsula. Kim needs the nukes as a threat. Coughley be cuff Iraq, but he'll never start a war because that would be the end of him. Sure, but what about the people in North Korea? That's my question. Trump basically threw any chance he had at doing something that Obama couldn't do in the trash. Well, yeah. That might be true. Frankly, I do not know. Germany seems to have better relationships with Russia. Yeah, there was something that I didn't really... I heard that, like, on the radio in passing. I was, like, walking through some place and someone had the radio on. And there was something with Russia. Where Germany sort of got closer to Russia, which I thought was kind of okay. I kind of liked that because, like, you know, please do not escalate into war. Can you bash the feminists? No, the feminists are correct, and they are always right, and all that. Should I read Mein Kampf or Capital loudly in voice? How about both, man? They are both certainly interesting books. Denmark recently started a cooperation with Swedistan to fight the Russians, derp. I mean, you know, those countries are... I mean, Finland is more at risk than Sweden and Denmark from the Russians. But it's probably not. Like, if you do, like, some military drills. I mean, they do military drills and blue ribbon shit for everything, really. I'm type of Trump has said and actually works unlike our previous... dude, the fucking... Obama worked just as well. Obama was just an average president that did nothing special. And I'm beginning to think that Trump is going to end up the same, except that he will have this huge cult of personality around him. Hey Burger, bring the German in the room. I have a question. I'm going to be drinking for the first time on a trip to Canada. Any recommendations? Oh, my dude. Many. Beer. Right? Beer is very good. Beer is a very nice beginner drink. Get a light beer. Don't get a dark beer. Unless you're into... You could get an Irish Guinness if you're into the taste of coffee, because Guinness tastes like coffee. In my experience, that's the only Irish beer that tastes like coffee. Though, to be fair, saying that a light beer is not going to be very bitter is, like, bullshit, because we have Pilsners up here that are incredibly light, and they taste like... Well, they basically taste like just bitter. The most important recommendation I have for people who drink, for drinking, especially if you're going to be drinking a lot, before you go to sleep, drink like a liter or two of water. That'll almost guarantee that you won't have a hangover the next day. That's like the biggest thing, right? Drink as much as you're comfortable with. If you feel at some point like you don't want to drink anymore, don't do it. Like the other people, they can say whatever the fuck they want, just don't do it. It's not their body that they're putting alcohol into. Don't let yourself be forced into anything. There's a difference between drinking for fun, and there's a difference, drinking for the sake of drinking, and drinking for the sake of taste, because there are alcoholic beverages which are delicious, which probably at first, when you just start drinking, you won't sort of have any, because all alcohol in the beginning... Like, I remember drinking mead when I was like 14, and I gulped down like a single bit of it, a single swallow, and I went, "Oh my god, this just burned my mouth!" And all the grown-ups around me were like, "Oh, this is a very mild mead. Yeah, this is very okay." Sorry, I kind of caught a bit of thing on that one day that I went camping. Yeah, so basically that's something you're gonna have to look out for. But after a while, it's gonna be great, man. It's really nice. It's pretty good. Hey, here I am again. Did you miss me and the stupid shit I always write in the chat? The Stoneweaver. Ah, it's you, Stoneweaver. Yeah, I kind of forgot you over the weekend. Obama just about crippled the middle class. If you back him, you're probably a young, ignorant dude. No. The financial crisis crippled the middle class, and Obama just happened to be president during the financial crisis. Like, Obama had nothing to do with... I mean, sure, he did poorly, as did the entire government, in handling the situation, obviously, but you can't put more blame on Obama of ruining the middle class than you can probably on Trump, because he was a big business player before that. You have to always take a look at the bigger economic situation at hand, and like honestly, probably the persons that are most to blame are like Clinton and Bush for that situation. So, yeah, Obama did nothing for this country besides triggering the dumbasses of this world. I work for myself, and those 8 years were sparse. Just speaking from first-hand experience as an adult. Now my family's business is booming. Just saying, yeah, because then there was a period of poor economic performance that you can't just put in a president and that president controls the economy. The US is set up especially in a way where the executive branch has little in the way of power over how the economy works. There are more socialist countries who have much more control over the economy, but the economy always goes up and down. And that just happens in cycles. I mean, this is like basic economic theory. They're named after some Russian dude. I think Kondratiev cycles or something. And so when Obama was president, that just happened to be a bad time, and also was hit with the financial crisis. And now it just happens to be a good time. You can't attribute the badness of the economy when Obama was president to Obama as much as you can attribute the economy, the goodness of the economy, which it isn't all that good, it's just the stock market that's doing well, to Trump, right? That's just, that is correlation, but it is not causation, it is just correlation. It has nothing to do with each other. We got any more My Immortal? No, I'm completely through My Immortal. Did Matoro die for our sins, or did he sacrifice his life for nothing? Is this a new meme that I missed? I'm curious as to how World War II veterans are viewed in Germany. They're old people who have done old people things. Like, they're all dead at this point. I couldn't really tell. Like, it seems to be mostly like hush-hush. Like, I have a great-grandfather that died in the war. He stepped on a landmine on his way to Stalingrad. And, I don't know, it's a thing that you commemorate on a familial level, but you commemorate them as soldiers, but not as soldiers of the Wehrmacht, you know? Why do you stream right before I leave school? Well, leave school then. Have you seen the Big Short? I have not seen the Big Short. I am very interested in knowing what that is. So anyway, how do you feel about the price of oil? Yeah, I heard that went up because of also some geopolitical implications. Oh yeah, exactly. It's because they pulled out of the Iran deal. The whole... Look, listen, okay? The whole situation... This is a big secret that many people don't know, even though it's not really secret. The only reason that the US dollar is the most important reserve currency in the world, right? The only reason the US dollar is a very important currency is because the United States sucks the dick of OPEC. I may have said this before. But essentially, the United States just constantly sucks the dick of OPEC nations, such as Saudi Arabia, which is basically at the top of OPEC. With the accord that if the United States of America continues to swallow their seed, they will trade oil exclusively in US dollars. And that is exactly what happens. So this is why the US dollar is a very, very extremely powerful currency. I mean, it's not as valuable as the euro or the pound or the you know, the all these smaller currencies that are used in Europe, but it is definitely the most stable of them. And that is the whole reason for that whole. And of course, like, the Saudi Arabia and Iran don't like each other. Not just because, I mean, obviously Saudi Arabia is Sunni and Iran subscribe to Shia Islam. And there's, you know, obvious political differences, and the whole problem with the US supporting terrorism is also that the Wahhabi Islam is basically, in Saudi Arabia you have a certain propping up of the religion of Wahhabi Islam that props up the royal family, and vice versa, right? They help each other out. Problem is that almost all terrorist groups in the world are Wahhabists, you know? So sadly, and because the United States has to keep the dollar stable, and so they have to continue sucking the dick of Saudi Arabia and the other OPEC nations, that is why, really, they can't do anything about the nation that is actually the main reason why big-time terrorism still exists, which is Saudi Arabia. So basically, the US is to blame in large parts for the existence of Islamic terrorism. But yeah, that's a very, it's a very complex issue. Yeah, Saudi Arabia is just playing the US. I don't think they are playing the US. The US knows exactly what's going on. Like, nobody's playing anyone. They're just deciding to do that anyway. The Big Short is about the people who made ungodly amounts of money off the collapse of the housing market. Oh my god, that whole shit. I read like an article that went more in depth, and I had no idea. I mean, I knew what happened in the financial crisis, but Jesus Christ. This trick that they employed to take these bullshit mortgages and these bullshit loans that were worth nothing, absolutely nothing, and they just pretended like they were the most secure, best loans that you could possibly invest in. That is that's not regulated in any way, shape, or form. Right? It's so fucked up that's a thing. I was blown away when I read that. And it's still happening. It's probably gonna happen soon with fucking cars, you know? It's still gonna happen. It's gonna happen again. It's gonna happen probably in the next decade at some point. And then we're going to have a new financial crisis, and more wealth is going to be destroyed from the middle class. It's going to be sucked up into the upper classes. And upper class is more like the 1% of people, right? And yeah, that's going to happen until at some point something happens that will be very extreme. Just wait, America's working on getting off oil, although it's taken ages. Sure, Saudi Arabia is also working on getting a service economy going. That's why it's likely that they will formally recognize Israel as a legit state in the coming decade. But it's gonna take a while. Who the fuck is Matoro? I don't like them putting gay in the chemicals to turn the freaking water frogs. That is exactly what I was thinking. So today, right, I posted this in Discord earlier. I was at the train station. I brought my girlfriend to the train. She's driving down to do a vacation of her own. And there was a bunch of I came out of the train station. There was a bunch of like Arabic dudes complaining about the kafir in Arabic and how they don't conform to Islam because they're all kafir. And then I went into my bus, And in the bus, there was a woman with a Middle Eastern woman with a child trolley. And she was not able to make space for an elderly woman, and according to German bus etiquette, that's a huge no-no. And some other elderly woman complained about that to the Middle Eastern woman, who evidently did not speak German in any way. And so what she did instead was to make the noises that a dying goat makes. And that happened for a prolonged period of time. And another girl also Middle Eastern girl, commented to her other Middle Eastern friends, complaining that all these recent Middle Eastern arrivals don't speak any German. And all that happened in the span of 5 minutes. That's my universe. What the fuck is going on with the Bionicle shit in the chat? Did Bionicle do something new? I remember what even is a thing. Someone disrespecting my gender, I identify as Bionicle. What the fuck? If Bionicle's so good, why is there a Bionicle too? What is going on? I remember liking Bionicle. I had like the some like, you know how some aunts give you random presents when you're a kid and you have no idea what the fuck it is, and then you end up liking it. She gave me one of those the small Bionicles, and it was the grey one. And I later found out that there was like a whole different races of Bionicle. And I find Bionicle to be quite fascinating, because instead of just making races of fictional beings and then creating Lego versions of them, they just made the fictional beings out of Lego. And that's just the lore. They're just Lego. And I never really got into the Bionicle lore, but I always found it kind of fascinating, kind of offbeat. And it's very thematic in the way that it goes. I like colors, obviously. And, well, it's not really obvious that I like colors, but I do like colors. And I like that they went sort of thematic with the colors completely. Wait, Solo, a Star Wars story came out already? I thought it was going to come out at the end of the year. So yeah, I don't know, I always found Bionicle interesting, but I, never really got into it. I remember when they had these things that, I think I had one of those, I think I had the brown one, where, like, they were these balls that they could just go like this, and that you could roll them around and shit, and they were, like, the enemies of the Bionicles. And I'm pretty sure that the good guys aren't called Bionicles, but, the small Bionicles are Mataran. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think I remember that name. I vaguely remember speeding down a 40-meter slope on a bike and crashing into a bin with no helmet. Escaping with a sore nose for about 30 seconds. Okay, but what happened after those 30 seconds? What made that situation change that you were no longer escaping with a sore nose? Makuta is coming for you. I think Makuta is the grey one, right? Because I think that's the one I had. Solo is... I don't know, is Solo really out? I'm gonna look this up. Solo, a Star Wars story. Oh, it's actually out. I could go see it right now. It's on in like 15 minutes at my local cinema. Probably wouldn't get there in time, but... Oof. Oh, God. A 6.5 on IMDb, a 71% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 3 out of 5 at, like, Den of Geek? Oh, boy. They're finally running this fucking franchise in the ground. I really was looking forward to it, because, like, this has Donald Glover as Lando... I love Donald Glover. Emilia Clarke, brilliant actress... Woody Harrelson, I've never seen a film with Woody Harrelson I didn't like. And Thandie Newton, who is also a great actress. I don't know about the main guy, I've never heard of him. But, fucking... Oh yeah, it comes out today and here. What the fuck? Why did you... Is it bad because of, like, SJW shit? Or did they just make a bad film because bad? What about Bionicle version of North Korea? I don't know. They are already all very, you know, slim. So, my mum didn't like Bionicle once. My dad got me some, and my mum made me take him bad. She made you take your dad bad? That doesn't sound like a very healthy family situation. Lord of the Rings just ripped off Bionic. Of course, yeah, obviously that's a situation that is 100% correct. I had to buy a present for my cousin, and I was baffled that the toys are shit now. I don't know if they're shit now because I don't buy. I had to buy Amiibo. For a kid that wanted Amiibo. And I was terrified of buying the wrong one. And finally I understood what it was like when I was a kid and I wanted that specific... I used to have like only like the old Game Boy, like the grey one. And I always wanted Game Boy games. And I had no idea that there was a new Game Boy. And eventually... just, they gave me, like, old people gave me a Game Boy game, like Donkey Kong. And obviously didn't fit in my old Game Boy. And all of us were very confused as to why that was a thing. I figured is it an SJW solo movie though, or is it just a bad solo movie? Because if it was an SJW solo movie, you would see better response from critics, but they don't like it either, apparently. I want to see a Boba Fett Mandalorian-focused Star Wars film already. You see, if the Solo film was bad, though, do you really? Speaking of Donald Glover, what are your thoughts on This Is America? It's, I don't know, I haven't actually listened to the full song. I kind of, you know, I like the message sort of resonates with me. Because it's true that every time something horrible happens... 2 days later, people just don't give a shit. It's not just a thing that's limited to America. It's a thing that's sort of limited to the rest of the world as well. I mean, it's like a thing. What's your opinion on the Battlefield 5 trailer? Such a disgrace. I haven't seen it. I only saw that apparently they locked the forums of Battlefield 5 because there was something about, like... I don't know, are there like female combatants in Battlefield 5 and it's supposed to be historical? Because... no? I had to fix my audio drivers. Thanks, Windows. Dude, drivers are a nightmare. Hey, Burger, what music do you listen to? I listen to a huge variety of music. I do... what I have in my, my big old playlist now, I have, I listen to a lot of lo-fi lately. I like Spanish music, like South American. I really like that. I have a Pendulum, one of my favorite bands. I really like the Gorillaz. Didn't really like their latest album. I have a huge amount of just underground type music. I like electro swing, though not all of it. I like there's this dude called Panama Cardoon, and he does like world music, but also with like a modern poppy, like hip hop type deal. I recently rediscovered Empire of the Sun because one of my Shadowrun players accidentally played it, and I had forgotten that it exists for like decades. Not really decades, but yeah. There's a huge amount of shit that I listen to. Yeah. It would be easy to tell you. I mean, I'm not that into like rock and metal and all that. There's just very few of that I actually listen to. But yeah, I'm probably not that interesting what kind of music I like. I also have some very odd tastes. Like I have a huge folder with different types of ethnic music from all over the world because I really like Greek music and shit. People said the message was invalid because he is with a white woman. What? What? What message? Despacito fan. Isn't Despacito like 3 years old at this point? Why is it still a meme? Why is it now more of a meme? I think it's bad because it's bad as well as being full of SJW shit. It's like being woke excuses quality to an extent that makes it relevant. Tries to carry itself. Yeah, that's, I think, a problem that a lot of these new... they're too caught up with having, like, the diversity and having the good message that they forget that what they're actually supposed to do is not enact social change, but, like, do good content. That's what we want from them. But they live in that bubble of Hollywood so far removed from the actual reality of the situation and what people want to see that it doesn't really matter. I mean, this film is going to perform incredibly well in spite of the fact that it's apparently shit. And then the next film is going to be the same. And then after like 20 films, they're going to have to run the franchise in the ground. Because the people who are the actual talent are going to have gone off and doing their own shit. Which is just as well, because all these great franchises being run on the ground, I just see it as an opportunity for myself to carve out a spot of creating new franchises that aren't shit. Talk about the Kanohi powers of the masks from Bionicle. I know nothing about them, so it's difficult. But the Kanohi seems like what's it called? Whatchamacallit? Polynesian. Does Bionicle include like Polynesian stuff? Despacito is 1 year. It's just 1 year old. Jesus. Do you like Cape? No, all the Japanese, Asian music, it's too... Like, I have a friend who plays Osu, and he's been listening to all that shit a lot. And, yeah, he's been recommending me some K-pop, J-pop, and all that, and really, it just doesn't do it for me. Apparently Lando's pansexual now. To be fair, he always had a bit of a pansexual vibe. I'm not surprised that that's a thing. Childish Gambino's wife is white? What does that have to do with anything? Yes, I do, because they could pull from actual good Star Wars lore instead of changing main characters from past movies and just be more dark in general, dealing with Hutts and hunting down scum. Yeah, they could do that, but will they? This film could have also been good. I mean, it might be good. I still haven't seen the latest Star Wars film either, so what the fuck do I know? Yeah, put it on Who is Betty. That's exactly... If you don't know it, subscribe to my short stories and narrations channel, Who is Betty. It's in the description, and listen to my short stories. Where does this Bionicle obsession come from, though? Are you working on a Harlem Shake video? I have been part of Harlem Shake videos. More than one, like a couple of them. I am not ashamed of it because it was I liked it, like the meme. It was fun. Yeah, but like there's so many Harlem Shake videos. But I think at this point the meme is a little dead. And also has been for a lot. I mean, I am a very skilled meme necromancer, but I think that one's gonna have to go for the old memes reminiscence episodes, isn't it? White Wife is a status symbol for African American. He's just a dude. And if the pussy he likes is a white girl, then how what the fuck? What is this American bullshit obsession with race? I don't understand. Can we all agree that K-pop is the worst music genre? No, anime is the worst music genre. People were lambasting him. Why are they lambasting the guy for having a white wife? Why would you... Is it racist? Is it like racist black people who go, oh, if you're black, you shouldn't have a white... Because then they're basically ethno-nationalists, and I have about as little love for them as I do the alt-right. Who's Betty is great. Ah, thank you. In Battlefield 5, they added a disabled British woman in frontline combat and black women fighting for the Nazis. What the did they actually, though? Like, did they actually? What the fuck? That is hugely insulting to all the black people who died in concentration camps. What did they actually? That is disgusting. That literally, that's like putting Jews in the SS. Holy shit! Oh, what the actual fuck? That is like, if big if true. I haven't seen it yet, so Meme Necromancer is an excellent Shadowrun character. Please don't. Race is incredibly important for Americans, yeah, and that's why you're basically a third world country. Spanish is the world music genre, even so, more so when you understand. I understand the lyrics. I speak Spanish. And no, Spanish isn't a music genre at all. There's a lot of different types of... I like Latin American music. I'm not that deep into, like, flamenco. I've never been a fan of that. But I like what you call it, the Bolivian shit. Like, you know when you watch Narcos, or when you play Tropico, and the music that runs in the background? I enjoy that. I also like Bossa Nova, but that's a whole different language. Fucking, but like... With how people talk about Ben Shapiro, you may as well say that there are Jews in the SS. Yeah, Ben Shapiro is an interesting character. I think a meme seer that speaks to the spirit of Rare Pepes is a good Shadowrun character. I wouldn't allow it in my campaign, though, because I only do serious things in my Shadowrun campaign. Which I have to do, and I probably am going to get to play a session this weekend. It was just a woman, I think. That's what I think why everybody hates it. Okay. As apparently Jews can be derailed as Nazis now because Nazi means nothing. Exactly. Nazi just means nothing at this point. There were Jews in the Wehrmacht. Well... That's a very difficult statement to make. Technically speaking, it is not entirely inaccurate. But also, for all intents and purposes, it kind of is. I mean, there were Jews in the Wehrmacht before World War II. I mean, back when all the Jew hatred started. Or came back, rather. There were dudes, like Jewish veterans with, like, uniforms that wore those uniforms proudly to say, hey, look, I'm German. I served in World War I, and you have no reason to you know, fuck me over like this, right? I'm a German just like you. But, you know, that's fucking... Hola, amigo, me speak Spanish, si, adios. Okay. Yabacars are stylish. Fuck off, man. No, they're not. Hey, you survived Cologne. That's good. Welcome back. Cologne is great. I wasn't that much in Cologne, actually. I was north of Cologne. But I did survive. Are there women in Bionicle? Muesli. What the fuck? Also, hi, Politique, man. It's been a long time since you... I might have to get you as guest. In your Discord, my name is Green. Why is that? Because you have demonstrated the minimum amount of not being a cunt, and so you were given the eyed person rank, and now you can just post everywhere. I would trade all the special effects for the old. I feel like the movies were more thought out rather than the clusterfuck stories we get these days. Are we referring to Star Wars films or, like, Bionicle films? But there isn't, there is a certain... There is a certain... I mean, I don't know how many of you have seen, like, I think it's called Jupiter Ascending. I watched that film in the cinema because I had never been disappointed by the Wachowskis. But like, I think they got so carried away with this sort of CGI bullshit, much like George Lucas did with the Star Wars prequels, that the film just was pointless at the end of the day. It was like, you know. Your hometown is very fun for women around the New Year. You know what? Actually, this year nothing happened. They sort of like it was publicly no one talked about it, but like the police sort of got it, and they didn't. Shit like this didn't happen this year as much. I mean, it was already a thing at like Carnival that very same year where we thought it was going to be like a huge rape fest, and like nothing happened. Have you seen the picture of Ben Shapiro next to Jordan Peterson? Either Ben is a very short boy or Jordan Peterson is very tall. Ben Shapiro is very short. Like, Jordan Peterson, I think, is a bit short, but like Ben Shapiro is like a dwarf. Actually, now that I think about blowing your nose is using the corpse of Storm Mucus. What? No, I was not in Leverkusen. Very much smaller type area. So your bookshelf is located in Cologne. No, my bookshelf is located in Kiel, Germany, which is where I live. I was born in Cologne, and I grew up there for the most part. There are female bionicles. Ah, here I thought, thinking that there finally was like a non-gendered. I mean, why do they have genders? Do bionicles have sex? Ever played HOI formatted? This literally I was asked this last week, and I no. The Toa are like the big ones, right? The tall, lanky ones. Those are the Toa, right? Do I remember this correctly? Is Bionicles the solution to the patriarchy? 100%. Berg, we both know that it should have never happened. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, of course it should have never happened. But there's a lot of things that should have never happened. There are things happening right now that should have never happened. If you want to know they're female bionicle, check the voice talk channel on Burger's Discord. Oh boy, I'm gonna check that right now. Bones are just hard meat. Okay, yes, there are definitely female. Like, are those actually bionicles, or are those just things that were built together from bionicles? Also, Yellow Cheese, you send me a picture of Matoro? That's not the one that I had. I had like the small grey one. Were you in Leichlingen? No, I was not in Leichlingen. Hey, I love Merchant of Wishes. Can you tell us what your inspirations for the stories? Thank you for liking Merchant of Wishes. There were some problems that I had with that story. They just come to me. I have a problem with that. I have like too many ideas for stories, and I can't write all of them. That's my bigger problem. Are you gonna make any stories for Who's Betty from the Bionicle universe? Probably not, but I am officially working on a Shadowrun fanfiction that's probably gonna come out next year. So, are there disabled bionicles? I mean, sure. I mean, if you take off one of their arms, it's, you know. Why do westernized countries have such low birth rates? Wouldn't that undermine their welfare system by having less people paying into them? We have low birth rates because that means that there are fewer people to support, right? There is a problem. I mean, the reason there are lower birth rates is because there's just no point anymore. We have a welfare system, so we don't need to have high birth rates. It's more efficient than just having a lot of kids, and a lot of them will die, and then maybe some of them will be rich enough to support you. It's much more efficient when you have like a complete system runs properly. There are problems with the aging population, definitely, and it's one of the big arguments that is made in the West for why we should get all the migrants here, who will essentially all just also drag the social system down. But whatever, you don't need to think about that, do you? There are solutions for that, though. It's not as big of an issue as it seems, but we just couldn't fix it now with the current state of technology. That wouldn't be possible. But certainly we're not actually doing the smart things that would be required to fix those problems. But When have we ever done that? Berg, you write what? I write short stories, and I'm a writer, man. Oh, if it's Netflix, check out Frontier. Is that a new show? Is it that the show with the Hawaiian guy with the huge one? Fucking, he was in like Game of Thrones, and he was in Stargate Atlantis. Because I watched a couple episodes of that, and it was just, I mean, I liked the idea of it, but it was so poorly written and so poorly directed that I fucking hated that. Trading Cables was amazing. I want more of that world. You will get more of that world. I am actually seriously developing that world, Trading Capers world. I am working on that, like, not much. But there will be more stories there. There will eventually also be more RPG shit there. And there will most likely also be a whole series of novels there at some point. But that's just probably like a decade in the future. The migrants will outbreed Europe, and the human civilization will end. That's not how that works. Europe will fucking overtake the migrants. We will fucking convert them to our ways, because our ways are freedom. Can Japan save itself from declining birth rate? Well, they're already doing it. They're having all these robots. What if you have a tech character that has drones with Pepe holograms on it, and when the Pepe changes to the face, the drones explode? I mean, that is a conceivable thing. What if we incentivize people to have 2+ children instead of paying welfare for millions of uneducated immigrants? Because those would just be more people that we would also have to support for a long period of time. Most people at this point aren't really rich enough to have children, right? And give them a proper education that would help propel them to the top of society. What we really need to do is allow for more sort of vertical mobility. It is vertical mobility. That's the most important thing. Japan is in a really strange position when it comes to low birth rate, fairly high suicide rate due to the heavy work culture. Same thing is happening in South Korea too. The work culture is intense. Yes, they haven't. I don't think they've understood that you need to chill sometimes. I don't think they got that memo. This is why they always talk like, oh, they have this huge economic growth and they're going to overtake Europe and all that. No, at some point they're just all going to commit suicide because it's about the balance, right? Sure, not even the Germans build a train station in 2 weeks. But also, the Germans won't have 50 million fucking train station builders in a couple years that are completely out of a job. Or killed themselves because they were overworked. I love small channels like this because Berger read like 3 of my comments. It just makes me feel special. Yeah, I try to read the comments. It's probably gonna at some point. I hope at some point that it's gonna be so much that I won't be able to read all of your comments, William. But I try. I like to engage with the people because at the end of the day, I'm just some dude, right? And there's like all of you people who are making all of this possible, who are actually taking time out of your day to watch my shit, you know? What do you have to say about low bionicle birth rates? I mean, they can just assemble new ones, right? I mean, that's just a... If there were oil shortages in the bionicle universe so they couldn't make more plastic, that would be a problem. Berg, do you think some Ahmed would ever start thinking outside the framework of Islam? I mean, we've had Turkish immigrants here for a long time. And while there are still some very strong enclaves of them, and like most of them are still Muslims, they're like Muslims. I mean, I went to a majority Muslim school, and of course there was a lot of radicalization there. But also, like, I know a huge amount of those Turks that have been around here, they've been here for like 40, 50 years. And they drink, they're like a, you know, it's like America, where you had the Italians and all that. They were criminal for a while. Some of them are going to stay criminal, and, you know, like, there are criminal Germans. They're integrating increasingly, and I hope the same happens with the migrants. There is, of course, the factor of Islam that needs to be handled properly, right? That's important. We need to handle Islam properly. No hive minds, no one else should have to put up with the bullshit my brain does low. Yeah, I kind of feel that sentiment. I don't want to have other people look into my brain. What the fuck? That is a huge appeal of the channel. Yeah, but at some point, it's just not going to be possible for me to do that anymore, right? It's just not going to... I mean, I wish I could do it. I'm probably going to... I mean, the Discord... That's why the Discord's going to have that many channels. Is because then I'll still be able to interact with people, but... I'm also not a big fan of social media. I hate social media, right? I like interacting with the fans. I don't like social media at all because I feel like it's tedious. I'd rather work. Have you ever read the Monster Hunter series by Larry Correa? It's about shooting supernatural creatures with various guns and getting paid for it. I mean, it's a pretty straightforward concept. I have heard of it. It doesn't particularly appeal to me because, like, I've seen Supernatural. But I do understand that Larry Correa is apparently a very good writer and, like, super woke. And he got banned from some fucking convention, and that irritates me a lot. How old are you? I'm 23. What's your view on bionicle abortions? Well, you know, I'm generally in favor of abortions, you know. But with bionicles, that's a different issue, man. They are alive in the womb. Berg, do you think Latin America will ever develop like Asia is currently doing, or are they stuck forever being a corrupt drug land? Well, the problem there is, I mean, the situation is fucked now. There's this huge political corruption in almost every single one of those countries. I do think that will change eventually. I do think they will recover eventually. It will take a long time. They will have to sort out the corruption, but a lot of them are actually using very modern technologies now, like blockchain and all that shit. They're becoming very innovative in some kind, like Honduras and shit. Becoming very innovative in how they handle these situations. Like Peru also is becoming a highly modernized country. Like they're taking a certain step back from their shit past and going into a more woke future. Though, of course, the situation varies depending on country. I think there's going to be a huge unloading in Brazil sometime soon, which is probably not going to be pretty to watch. But all in all, eventually, even Africa's going to crawl out of the mud. That's not a problem. Hey Burger, can you tell us your 3 favorite songs? That's difficult. I don't like... Here's the thing with me. I don't like superlatives. I don't have three favorite songs. I could name you 3 songs that I like. I like, Light My Fire by The Doors. That's one of my favorite songs. Also, I forget my favorite things all the time. This is why I write them down. Are they my favorite things then? That's the thing, because I think that if they are my favorite things, right, I shouldn't need to write them down, but I still like them a lot. So what's the dealio there? Like it depends. Right now, I've been listening to a lot of Men Down Under, Men at Work Down Under. Jesus Christ. I like a song by B.B. Coleman called "The Sky Is Crying." Oh, that's a fucking beautiful piece of blues. So almost 10 minutes long. It's just you feel every. It gave me the idea of maybe like wanting to make like a blues bard character in some capacity, where you go ahead and and that just chills the enemies out like shit, or you just go with the deep emotions, and that just makes them sad and all that. But yeah. What's your opinion on John Oliver? I like John Oliver. He's I I mean, you know, ever since Trump got president, he's gotten more things wrong. He always finds some bullshit reason to turn it back on Trump. It's ugh. But like the things he highlights, like they actually do proper research, even if they do have a bias, which they all have. They do excellent research. And what I like most about John Oliver is that he does this crazy shit that I think people like him should do, like opening a church. And always when he says, well, it would be strange if somebody did this very specific thing. That's always when like HBO did that thing with him. That is something that I very much appreciate. Now, of course, John Oliver gets a lot of things extremely wrong, but then you have to consider that there's a huge team behind him, right? He's not the one who writes most of those jokes. And yeah, he does have a pretty heavy bias, but I don't know, I find him entertaining. John Oliver is one of those people whose videos I watch, and then sometimes I'll interrupt, and then I'll rant about it for a couple minutes because he said some stupid bullshit, or framed something in a way that it shouldn't have been framed, but otherwise it's pretty good. Toto Bionica. Berg play Bionicle with us? No. Yeah, John Oliver has been very biased lately. I totally agree. Berg Top that once said that the Germany is in current state because the Germans are so advanced that they think that everyone else thinks like them. Your thoughts? That's difficult. I don't think that's true. They do understand that other people think differently. I think that they think that if you are nice to someone, they will automatically be nice to you. Because that's how it is, basically, right? In the West. People are just nice to each other, because why the fuck not? I mean, there are always, like, cunty aspects, but generally speaking, people tend to be nice to each other because we're not in that rigid competition. We kind of like it here. There's no reason for us to be at each other's throats. And they have this misguided thing that you can just fix everything with love. And that's just not true. That's just bullshit. And they just deny the basic reality. And I think a lot of it comes from, like, the historical guilt that Germans carry around with them. Which I don't know why we would carry that around with us anymore. But yeah, I'm not... I don't like it. I think that a lot of them understand it, but they're like I think that even the broad masses understand it. The problem is like the political class, the elites, the people that actually control like the dialogue and the media and all that. But in the past couple of months, like I think since the beginning of the year, we've been seeing a lot of change in the way that the topic is being talked about. Right? You have a lot more, like, Germany has a huge talk show culture. Like, the intellectual talk show culture. Not like Dr. Phil and shit like that. But, like, you actually get a lot of, like, extremely smart people in a room, and then they talk about something. And that there's, like, dozens of those shows that are on every week. And I really like that is a thing. And there's been... It used to be, like, last year that they didn't even invite people on who were like anti-migrant or anti-Islam and all that. But that has shifted extremely. And in the few occasions where they did get someone on, it was like one dude and the audience was already all booing them all the time. But that has changed drastically, right? They have like dudes like Hamad Abdel Samad, who is, he's a great guy. He's like he's got this extremely thick Arabic accent, and he's like an atheist. He's the ultimate fucking alpha male. He went to fucking Egypt, I think, and confronted actual Islamists on the street. Like, there was a small crowd of Islamists, young men, willing to do violence to anyone who insults the Prophet, and he just insults the Prophet to their face. And they just back off because he's this alpha. That's the dude who's making the big talk show rounds in Germany right now. There's a lot of actually, as a matter of fact, the most of the people who are actually speaking out against like the political correctness culture and the Islam and all that, it's Jewish intellectuals, it's black intellectuals, and it's Islamic it's not really Islamic intellectuals, it's like Middle Eastern intellectuals. German intellectuals are too far up their own ass. Like you have Henrik Broder, who Henrik Broder, as he's called, he has this weird show where he talks to himself in the mirror, which I've never quite understood that. And he has a lot of like he is especially like with the anti-Semitism of Islam, and you have to honestly treat those things the way they are. And you have, you've been having more comedy about that. You've been having a more open dialogue, and I think that's a step in absolutely the right direction. And like when I talk to average people, even students at the university, but then again, I am mostly friends with people in the historical faculty. They're a bit more woke on that subject. They understand the problems with like the political correctness and the migrants and all that. So, actually, that was a lot of. Yeah, I think Hamid Abdel Samad was a Muslim at some point, probably. There are 1 million Kurds in Germany. It is the largest Kurdish diaspora in the world. Yeah, there's a lot of countries where you have more people living outside the country than in it. It's a very interesting situation. I actually know a whole lot of Kurds that I met, like, growing up. Alright, my bionicle brethren, what is the best series? Still talking about fucking Bionicle. I wish I understood German. I'd probably love it. Well, yeah, but also Germany is a very German is a very complicated language, and Germans sometimes respect more the eloquence with which an argument is presented than the actual argument. Like, you can get away in the English-speaking world with being an intellectual that uses incredibly simple words and that formulates things in a manner that is simplistic and even curses and all that kind of shit. You can't get away with that in Germany. That's not possible. It doesn't matter how smart the things you say are. And even with young people, the fact that you have a pedestrian way of speaking will basically just put you down immediately, which is not something that I like very much. The Talk Voice channel in the Discord is full of female Bionicle. I saw some of them earlier, but yep, they are. It is full of female Bionicle. This is getting like furry. I might make a Bionicle channel for you people. How about that? Also, could you please not post Lego pictures with dicks in the voice channel? Or maybe I will make voice talk not safe for work, to be honest. So you can talk about those topics. So you need to have a get out of jail card. Else if you speak out as a German dude, you just get thrown into the AFD bot. It used to be that way, definitely, but it's no longer that way much. Unless you're talking about German intellectuals, in which case, of course, that is 100% the case. Borok is was the round thing, isn't it? I'm learning German and I don't like it. There are too many these and they're different for different words, and every word have different forms. Dude, Finnish is even worse, man. Yeah, German is terrible with that. There are Germans who don't get that right. But there are there are German politicians who don't speak German properly. Like, German is legit a difficult language. Do you even vulgäre Analyse? Not so much anymore, because ever since he's switched his content to DTube, it's too much gore for my taste. I don't know. I don't want to sit through 2 minutes of ISIS executions before I get my legitimately interesting, entertaining, and well-presented content. That's just not what I like. And if he wants to do that, that's 100% his prerogative. He should be able to do that. And he does it, and if he enjoys it, that is good. It's just that I don't enjoy it, and so I don't really watch him anymore. I took a year of German in college, and a year of Japanese in college. I love both languages, but Japanese seemed a lot easier for me. I kind of want to learn Japanese at some point. I have a solution for Islam, ship all Wahhabi to South America. They'd probably get killed by the communist and the fucking right wing, isn't it? Can Bionicle expand dong? Yeah, Borok equals round boys. That is exactly. I'm gonna open it. I'm gonna research Bionicle lore later, because I'm intrigued now, and you know, I have to do like shitty work though this weekend still. Yes, German grammar is the worst. Yes, it is 100%. Is Germany a good place to get Kinder eggs? The best one, man. Fucking, they're brilliant. Actually, there is a thing I have to, I'm gonna go to like a sweets outlet soon. Have you been to Hong Kong? No, I've never. I've actually been to Africa once. I've been to Tunisia when I was 3. And like we did like a camel tour, and my mother held me in the face of a huge camel, and that camel then sort of screamed at me, and then I was afraid of the camel as a 3-year-old boy. And my mother was from that point on convinced that I had a phobia against large animals, which I never did. But I had to take riding lessons to get over that fear of large animals that I never had. So that was a situation. There are American politicians that still believe the Earth is around 6,000 years old. We win. Yeah, that definitely. Like, that is 100%. You win in that department completely. There was some idiot in German politics that said a similarly idiotic thing recently, and I thought, well, you know, at least we're not America. Oh, actually, yes, we are America now. Can Bionicles just switch out their genitals? I'm glad we are really talking about this, about the important things. Describe Germany in 10 years. I couldn't even begin. I know that I'm not going to be living here. That's a thing that I definitely... I mean, you know, unless, of course, the world breaks down. Though even then, I'm probably going to try to get to the Netherlands or something. I've been considering moving to Antwerp, which is not the Netherlands, obviously. But it's... apparently there's like a big nerd shop there that only does comic books and weeb shit, and I like neither. And they don't even do novels, which, you know, let's be honest, that's gay. Twinkies of nothing on milk is tender. I never actually had Twinkies, but I do like milk is tender, even though I've had it like three times. The chat just broke him. What? Camels are delicious. Camel meat is actually pretty good. They did like a thing with when we were in. I still remember this, even though I was 3 years old. They did they hacked like camel meat and they made like a pot with tomatoes and shit. And they cooked it like underground, under the sand. And it was absolutely delicious. And I still remember actually liking the camel meat as a 3-year-old boy. So yeah. I off mate, cheers man. Sorry for again for the BS earlier. Dude, like it's really, like we all have different political opinions. It's the great thing that we can disagree and still like each other, innit? But you know, have fun with your aquariums, my dude. Germany 10 years is not quite as fucked as France. I think France is actually handling the situation quite well, to be honest. I think Paris will be a shithole for the foreseeable future, though. But then again, Washington, D.C. apparently is also, and that's not stopping them from running a proper government. How including Nelson Mandela bring back Bionicle? Oof, that's a very, probably if Nelson Mandela becomes incredibly fascinated with Bionicle and then they bring it back because it's Nelson Mandela. Antwerp, yes, Antwerp. Why not Antwerp? Belgium is the only place worse than Poland. TBH. Okay, is that like a racist thing you have going on there, my dude? Because Antwerp is very, very extremely cheap. That's why. There's probably also good cheap cities in the Netherlands. Any good book recommendations? Something possibly similar to the Hyperion Cantos. Revelation Space by Alistair Reynolds. I've been recommending this book in every stream, I think. Excellent book. I just finished the second novel, which is Chasm City. Which that one Chasm City is like the ultimate mindfuck of what happens when you gain the ability to implant memories in people. That is so Chasm City is, but you need to read Revelation Space first. Well, you don't really need to read Revelation Space first, do you? To understand Chasm City, because I think Kuri has a guest appearance in Chasm City, and that's basically the whole. I mean, and of course, parts of Revelation Space are set in Chasm City, and things that are also referenced in Revelation Space are referenced in Chasm City. But either of those two. But read Revelation Space first. I think it's a better introduction to the universe as a whole. It's really good. It's like dark sci-fi. It's like dark in the sense that it is realistic, and the guy who makes it is actually like an ESA scientist. It's really amazing. Same here. Much respect. No problem. Respect right back at you, man. Wait a moment. Is this Bionic Christian actually there? Oh Jesus. The Dutch don't like Belgians in general. We've not forgiven them for seceding, and they're unintelligent. Well, I was actually at the Mosel River at a camping thing, and I don't know if you know this, Politik, man, but in German camping places are full of Dutch people. Literally, the place where I went, this was in Germany, right? All things were labeled in Dutch first, and then in German. The thing was literally called Der Holländische Hof. Because fucking Dutch people were everywhere. There's times of the year when it's caravan season, where if you go on the highway, you're gonna see more yellow license plates than white ones. Implanting memories in people, man, you'd love Kaiba. Isn't that a character from Yu-Gi-Oh? Learning Spanish, I wanted to take a look into Portuguese, and it makes the weirdest noises. Yeah, Portuguese has some very strange noises. Like my half siblings are half Portuguese, and they speak a little Portuguese. Ever played World of Warcraft? I played World of Warcraft for 20 minutes. I always wanted to, but at the time I wasn't allowed internet, so it wasn't really worth it. Well, the Dutch tourists weren't awful. It's just, at least I could buy Vla there. Where should I move because Politiek, man, here's the thing, right? Amsterdam is very expensive. I want to move to Amsterdam, but it's very expensive. So where else should I move? Elon Musk triggering the media bootlickers today was just... Oh yeah, I saw something that he wanted to make like his own Snopes, which the media is always in favor of. But apparently because it wasn't a media insider wanted to do it, they got super fucking mad. I love Elon, man. Honestly, Elon is gonna save this planet and Mars too. And then again, your people occupy our beaches every year. Yep, because your beaches are better than ours. Let's be fucking honest. I live in Black Forest in the summer. Our town gets colonized by the Dutch. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was in the Black Forest too. No, was I though? No, I was near Trier. That's not really Black Forest. I like Portuguese, man. In Norway, we have German campers. It's all about perspective. Kaiba is a separate anime project. PewDiePie's favorite anime. Oof. Do you think that religion as a subject in school is obsolete? No. But I do think that we need to approach it very differently. I do think that we there shouldn't be. I think there should be a certain religion class that is intermingled, that looks at the whole thing from a more philosophical and historical perspective. Like, look, like not we're gonna learn to be Christians now, but like we're gonna learn about Christianity and then maybe explore the parallels between Christianity and Islam and Hinduism and whatever. To take a more academic approach to it. Because religion and spirituality are very important and also fascinating aspects of humanity. And I think that we're missing out in the West because we're no longer as spiritual as we used to be. Also, the vast majority of people I've had to rescue were Germans, which means you people either can't swim or can't follow directions on where not to swim. Do you actually, are you like a life support man? Are you bilingual? I'm quadrilingual. Play Battletoads for Wii. Seriously though, Berg, given the current economic situation, when do you think Bionicle will make a great return? It honestly depends on what Lego wants to do with where Lego wants to move the franchise. Move to Groningen or Utrecht. Those are good cities and a lot cheaper than Amsterdam, which is shithole anyways. But though, I hear that both Groningen and Utrecht are very cold. And also, do you have like good shops for nerd shit there? And isn't there like a Groningen Independence Party? I wish I could afford one of Elon's flamethrowers. Yeah, those would be fucking hilarious. Bergie, general thoughts on Bloodsports. I've never really cared about them or for them. I don't know. I don't even know what they are really. They're just people being sat in a room and that they're having discussions. Wow, what a revolutionary concept. Yeah, Mucus Creek indeed. Yeah, because like here's the thing, right? We were up until very late in the night. I wasn't forewarned that we were going to go camping. We were then up till very late in the night, till like 5 in the morning. And I didn't have like a sleeping bag or nothing. I had like a shitty air mattress in a tent that had no isolation to the ground whatsoever. And like a terrible fleece thing that was more like a summer thing. And it gets really cold up there. And so essentially my body, because I have a sleeping disorder, I tried to fall asleep for half an hour, and then my body just went, nope, you can't sleep, it is too cold, and now a new day has begun, and now you are awake. And so I didn't sleep that night. Yeah, that was a fucked up situation, but I think I got a little bit of, you know, mucus in there. What's the filthiest country in Europe? The filthiest country that I've been to was definitely Poland. But then I've been to some dirty places in Poland. I was a lifeguard for about 10 years. Oh, Jesus. What languages do you speak? I speak German, I speak English, I speak Spanish, and I speak Catalonian. Can you click your toes? What do you mean by click your toes? I want to move to Germany, but if I order food, it will sound like the army and I would shit myself. No. You just order food online. What the fuck? Also, most people working in takeaways are not German. What's your political compass if you have one? I am fairly far to the left and I am very far to the liberal end of things. Is Bionicle porn a human right? Definitely. Hey Burger, would you smash 2B? I don't know who that is. Your thoughts on Collie Bionicle Sport? I don't know enough about Bionicle to know about that. German shits on Poland. Yeah, I know. It's ironic. I just got a message, I think. No, I actually didn't. My phone just vibrated. Saying you speak Catalonian is cheating if you speak Spanish. Everyone in Catalonia speaks Spanish, though. So I don't think that's actually... You know. I'm gonna research who Rudaka is. Rudaka, because I'm being asked if I would smash. Like those are like honestly, they actually gave her tits with like shoulder pieces. What the fuck? And of course, like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th image on Google of Rudaka is slightly sexual in nature. Imagine my shock. Brah. Dirty Polish people better off under German rule. I like the. I've met a lot of Polish people. They're generally very cool. I like them. Confirmed communist. I'm the exact opposite of a communist. Catalonian would be super interesting language to learn. I'd like to learn Basque too, mainly because it's a language isolate. Yeah, I watched a documentary recently in Spanish about cuando destruyeron el Jesús Iguirren y con el Chubalcalba que destruyeron a la ETA. No lo hicieron. My Spanish isn't as good sometimes as it is in other times. I don't speak a lot of Spanish. But I watched this documentary about ETA recently, and I was fascinated once again by the names that some of these people have. I'm gonna just Google Basque people, because their fucking Euskari is ridiculous. No, I want individual, not Basque people as in, but like people. I'm just gonna go Jesus Egiguren. I kind of like him more with the beard. Members of the Basque Parliament. Just go with this. Carlos Garaikoetxea. Iñaki Anasagasti. Ezenaro is pretty okay, but Idoya Zenarutsabaitia Beldarain. You know what I'm saying? Josu Urruticoechea. I am very good at pronouncing shit like that, you know? But this just kills me. Basque kills me. Euskera kills me. I don't know who 2B is, no. Google Bionicle titties, Dad. I don't think so. I think Mama's gonna be very upset if I do that. Burger Creek titty stream when I do actually have my titties. But you probably don't want to see this. Politikman, I was in Catalonia a few years back. Sounded like a mix between Spanish and French. Is that accurate? Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it is pretty accurate. It's like you take Spanish and you take French and you put it in a bowl and you let it stew until it's like no longer good and safe for consumption. And then you stir it and then make it so it smells, and then you have Catalonian. And I personally have the Mallorquí accent of Catalonian, which is like the most disgusting. It's like something vomiting in your ear. So yeah. I was in the Basque recently for a student exchange between Pforzheim and Guernica, and I have to say, bewareth thy tunfish, and the TX in Nask is like CH in Spanish. Yeah, I know that. But like, why would I pronounce it correctly if I can also pronounce it funny incorrectly? I'm gonna have to read like, who is 2B? Because not everyone's talking about, no, not 2, but 2B. Oh, it's like one of them with the one game, wasn't it? Yeah, I never really found that game particularly interesting, though I do hear that it's got some very fascinating shit. I mean, she does have a nice ass, but she seems a little emotionally distant for my personal taste. And also, I think she's got a thing going with her brother, and I wouldn't want to intervene there. And yes, of course, the internet is of the visceral opinion that she has a thing going with her brother. And that is also why there is now porn of her in my top results on Google with her brother. You can't be a leftist without making the government more and more authoritarian. Just watch Computing Forever's last video. He explains it. Computing Forever doesn't understand jack shit about anything that isn't computers, man. He has no idea about political theory or political science. Literally, that is not how leftism works. He just makes this argument, he makes the straw man because he's a right-winger, and he doesn't... There's this situation now where people are turning away from the left because a lot of the mainstream left, or at least the elite left, is becoming authoritarian, which is a problem. But the political compass, it doesn't... Much like you can be a right-winger who isn't an authoritarian, which is something that many leftists do not understand, the same goes vice versa. It's a little more complicated than just if you are on the other side, you are an evil authoritarian, and if you are on this side, you might also actually be a good guy. Like, Computing Forever he's got interesting things to say about blockchain and shit like that, but whenever he goes into politics, all I can do is fucking gasp in astonishment at how little this man understands about this world. Or rather, it's not just that he doesn't understand things, I think he understands a lot more than it seems. It's just that he sees everything through this biased lens that he can't possibly get an accurate picture of reality. And he is one of those people who, now that there's a big sort of runoff from the mainstream left and from the left into like the anti-SJW situation, there's a lot of right-wingers who are actually trying to recruit for the right wing. And he is one of those people. And those people are not to be trusted as much as the SJWs are not to be trusted. German shits on Computer Forever, duel to death when? I'm not particularly interested in dueling anyone to death. Is there any cutting edge science that interests you? Literally all of it. Oh my god, I fucking love cutting edge science. I love future science even more, but cutting edge science always kind of makes me feel like I'm living in the future. I have this, I subscribe to this dude, I think his name sounds Hungarian. There's 2-minute papers, his channel is called, where he talks about like neural networks and how they're developing. And they recently did a, I'm always more interested in like the fun applications of these things instead of the obvious engineering applications, because I'm a fun-oriented kind of guy. And they developed a system that actually generates textures and materials virtually. And also, augmented reality is a huge thing that I look forward to a lot. I actually think that in the future, as soon as Elon has his super internet to the sky, we're gonna have these, right? But we're not gonna have their computing be done over these. We're gonna have our computers at home running all the time, and we're gonna have these just be communication units, and they're gonna communicate with our eyes, and we're gonna have perfect AR. We're no longer gonna have to worry about fucking screens, because I can have these two screens, right? And I can just do this, right? And I can open a third screen here when I need it. Fucking augmented reality will change everything about everything. And I saw there's a company now that's doing a thing where they have like a tabletop gaming set pieces that are AR elements, and so they move and shit, and so you don't have to, you can just build a tabletop set piece in Blender or something, and you can animate it, and then you don't have to expend the material, and that's something that's amazing to me. Temu Kontinen, which was probably not Finnish. Sup lad, hello Temu Kontinen. But given how widespread the hatred toward millennials tends to be in the media, do you think that we will grow to hate the next generation, or we have learned from the experience? Well, I would hope that we have learned from the experience, but there hasn't been a single time where that has worked, and the current generation hasn't hated the next one. So I'm pretty sure that we're going to find a reason to hate whatever generation. Not Generation Z, because they're kind of like part of us, but whatever comes after those, and probably after those more. It's juvenoia. It's just a psychological phenomenon. You need an infinite amount of access to be really accurate. Yeah, exactly. In the political compass, that's exactly the thing. And but it's always a bit more complicated. I think I'm in love now. Oh, whomstive girl have you met? Or dude? I don't judge. People are actually making limbs out of Lego. Yeah, that's pretty fucked up and also kind of cool. What do you think about the Jews? There are people, they've done a lot of great movies. I don't think I've ever met an actual Jew. Like, in real life. I probably have. I don't give a shit, really. They're just people. You can already now rent powerful gaming PCs, let them render your game, and play it on your shitty laptop. Yeah, I had that. I tried that for a while, but I realized that my internet was too slow. And yeah, you also mentioned that. Yeah, that's fucking amazing, isn't it? No internet connect. But, like, you can't do that for pro gaming and shit, because you need, like, the instant response time. No internet connection in my body, thank you very much. I'm a little too aware of the inherent risk that represents. I don't want people hacking my brain. Yeah, that's the thing. You have to have a way that you can turn that shit off, is the thing, though. Like, I would have retinal things like contact lenses. I'd be very careful with retinal implants, right? And you'd also need to be able to, like, you just hit the button and then the whole vision just goes normal. And so the retinal implants would have to be transparent. Because that is a big danger, of course, that you have to consider, that you might get hacked. But I think that if we ever get deep into these self-learning networks, we might actually be able to have these self-learning networks to be so incredibly customized and tailored to single persons that nobody could possibly ever hack them, because it's a whole different type of software, right? Every single person would essentially have their own operating system, and they would just look different on the surface. But that opens up a whole different kind of problems. Yeah. So who does know what he's talking about? Talking about politic wise. Well, everybody has blind spots. There's some things that Commuting Forever is right about when he talks about politics. I couldn't tell you anyone who I say he just blanket knows what he's talking about. I mean, I know that Layman has a degree in that, but he doesn't really talk about politics. Zarathustra's Serpent knows a lot of smart things about politics. Sargon knows, like, academically a huge amount about politics, and he has a very good understanding of how it works. But also his bias is sometimes, in some areas, is so extreme. And I think his callousness toward how he approaches the topics, and his personal ideology about how things should be and how people should be to be happy, blinds him in actually making correct assessments on how things are. I think Brett Weinstein has a very good understanding of how politics works in many regards. But at the end of the day, I don't think anyone has a very good understanding of how politics works, ultimately. The whole, like, it's not an isolated topic. It's a thing that's connected to a million other just equally as complex topics that, you know. What the fuck? Yeah, 4chan would hack the... Yeah, but, like, the problem is that it wouldn't be that easy. Yeah, contact lenses are acceptable, though normal contact lenses freak me out as well. I don't like the idea of putting something on my eyeball. Yeah, but, like, there's people who are not okay, who freak out with the notion of putting something on their upper body, so that's just... It's just a fashion accessory, isn't it? Papa, what do you play on Steam? I've been playing a lot of Darkest Dungeon lately. I'm gonna play Shadowrun Dragonfall tomorrow on Twitch, by the way. So everyone go and subscribe over there. Kyle Kalinske, exactly. I love Kyle Kalinske. He is, I think... I think I've never, I'm not 100% certain, but I think I have never actually heard Kyle Kalinske say something that was incredibly stupid. I probably have heard him say things that are wrong because he was misinformed or something. But I love Kyle Kalinske. He's one of my favorite people. Even though, but I do think that is like Justice Democrats and associating with the Young Turks is better than just going off and sort of allying with the right wing to fight for free speech, because at the end of the day, they don't want that either. Ever heard of H Bomber? Yeah, I've heard of H Bomber guy. I don't know. He probably does good content, but much like ContraPoints, they have high production quality. I just don't like him. I don't know. Like, objectively speaking, I have to say their videos are excellent quality, but they just don't appeal to me personally. So, Shadowrun. What about Shadowrun? Darkest Dungeon. Hey Burger, do you play with mods? Yeah, of course I play with mods. I play every game I can with mods. I have like 50 class mods for fucking Darkest Dungeon. Burke, how do you think human augmentation would affect warfare, if at all? Oh god, it's gonna, oh Jesus, it's gonna be huge. But also, for different reasons, warfare isn't really gonna be much of an issue at that point, because it's not gonna be needed anymore. People are gonna do it for fun. Generally, I find the people who have the most useful things to say are the people who carve out their specific niche. State of Nation knows a lot about European populism, that is his niche. Yeah, I like State of Nation a lot. Politics is too broad to discuss in depth if you want to discuss everything, which is why I don't talk about many topics. Yeah, see, I have the opposite approach. I just talk about a lot of topics, but also I don't know what I'm talking about. Kyle is mommy because he is obviously a lesbian. Remind yourself that Remind yourself that overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer. I can't do it as well as the guy does. Oh god, yeah, I've been trying to do Darkest Dungeon memes, but nobody else plays it. I love Darkest Dungeon. I had it for a long time, and I played it a couple times, and I was super fucking frustrated with the bullshit RNG. I think I'm gonna get a mod that disables, like, the red curse, because it doesn't do anything. It doesn't add any interesting game mechanics. It's just annoying shit that gives you a super rare resource that you now have to manage. And like, okay, sometimes when your characters have bloodlust, they get like a bit of an advantage, but it's really not worth it. And the way that it spreads too, if you have like people who are in the same building as them and they also then get the fucking thirst, I don't like it. It's bullshit. Have you sold the Omen Seeker? I think I have. Is that the one where she has like tits that, but like her like literally the images of her look like her shoulders come out not out of like her torso but out of her tits. It's like you have the lower torso, and then you have the tits and chest area, and then from that it's not attached to the larger torso, but coming out of that are then the shoulders and the head. That is one of the most hilarious fucking things I have ever seen. Only game I play is much of a Civ 5. I used to play a lot of Civ 5. I kind of lost interest, but I do have like 500 hours on it, so. Burger, completely forgot the fast food for Fast Food Thursday. No, I actually did eat fast food earlier. I ate an actual burger. It wasn't too good though. Though in the beef patty there was like a thick 300 gram beef patty, and it had like cream cheese in it, like cottage cheese. It was very nice, but otherwise it wasn't like the condiments weren't too good. It was fatty. It was falling apart. It was too big. The bread wasn't crisp at all. I have decided that I won't be eating fast food on stream anymore. What's your view on life after death? That's a huge topic. I did a video on a hypothesis that I have on life after death, that we're all just living in a simulation, and the Buddhists are essentially right, and eventually we're going to wake up in a post-scarcity society. But like, I am open, but it's unlikely. It's like just a hypothesis. It's something that could be. Might as well that the Mormons are right. It's I I am open to the idea of an afterlife a lot more than I am open to the idea of a god, because there's actual evidence for an afterlife, and an afterlife isn't a contradiction in and of itself. But it's not good evidence, so it's like it's something that does interest me, but it's not something that I actively believe in any kind. Aaron Jesus is a cruel mistress. I honestly think that at least in Shadowrun, the RNG is sort of fucked with. What if Berkeley is actually best Doki? What? Berkeley described Omen Seeker very precisely. Yeah, I mean that's what she is. Is Shadowrun like Temple Run or what? I'm just gonna say no, and then leave that topic. Alright, serious question for real. Any tips on world building? Oh, and how to transmit it through action. Well, there's a difference between... I like world building. And I always do a whole lot of world building for works that I have multiple stories in. However, I think the most important thing about world building is that the readers don't necessarily care. They care, and many of them care a lot, but they have a limited amount of caring, right? You have to, if there might be super interesting world building facts about your world. Like I have this world that I've been working on for a long time, where there's in this sort of Spanish themed region, which is not really Spanish themed. It's like almost not at all that. There's like a big mountain range that separates it from the rest, and there's this one sort of valley that's going into like the country. There's a lot of sort of sulfur fountains there, like sulfur seas. And there's actually like a tribe of deformed people living there. They have yellow skin and like fish teeth, and they speak a strange language, and it's very difficult, and they live in underground huts, and they can breathe sulfur and shit. And you have like they're like extremely primitive, and you have like specialized people who communicate with them. In the current novel that I am plotting out in that setting, they just never occur at all. Because it just happens that they don't occur there, and so I don't mention them. Maybe there will be a reason to mention them at some point, but unless that happens, I'm not going to force them into that, right? You can't overwhelm your readers with bullshit. And, you know, world building often is people think that you have to world build everything out completely. But there's Matt Colville did a great video on this where, sometimes you just need... because every world building item just leads into more. And you don't have to describe them right away. You can just, you write a passage, and then maybe... then you had this historical figure, and this historical figure had gained military experience in the War of Daggers, right? And then you have no fucking idea what the World of Daggers is. And you can still go back later and find out what the World of Daggers is. That's what I love so much about world building. So I don't know if I've made tips on world building per se, but I have a lot to say about it. I used to watch Cal, but he pissed me off when he said things I knew he only said because he didn't look into it, or when he would ignore events and controversies that made progressives look bad. Did he though? That's interesting. Omen Seeker's perfect mummy material burger. We all know it. I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. What do you think about genetic modifications? I already talked about this last week. It's gonna fundamentally change everything about everything. And we're going to have furries. Pit options on the BSA. The what now? What if the afterlife is a mind camp filled with human souls that mine God knows what for post-scarcity alien civilizations? It might be true. The afterlife is the source of memes. Do you think there's an afterlife for memes? Do you think there's an afterlife for Big Nigga? Or is Big Nigga just going to straight up beat death? I really know how to tick you off, eh? I don't know what you're talking about. Number 5, Burger Creek foot fetish. I have no fetishes. Like, it's odd that I've there's some shit that I have like interest in, like, you know, those videos where like the women tell you how to jerk off. Like, I watch those sometimes. But like, it's not really about the instructional part, because I always know better than them, because I have the equipment. I've had it for a while, and that, like, it's often just about like the togetherness factor of it, I think. There's a lot in that genre that has like femdom humiliation shit, and that's something I can't stand at all. But like, aside from that slightly kinky shit, and the fact that I have found myself liking dominating people quite a lot, not in like an extreme sense, but like, you know, a bit. I'm actually pretty vanilla. I'd say I'm like 75% vanilla. Pornhub made a VPN. Well, I'm not surprised. If we were in a simulation, infinite numbers are a serious problem in terms of storage space. Yeah, but like, how do you know that the universes above us don't just have more dimensions, right? I mean, we make two-dimensional simulations, and eventually we might just reach a point, like simulations might just reach a point where they can't make any more. It's just that obviously we are not at that point, because I mean, we can make simulations. We can make simulations that make simulations. I mean, I used to be on like a super elite Minecraft server where they built redstone video games in the video game. Perhaps a video on world building. I am considering it. I will probably do a video on MBTI at some point. Actually, we'll do 5 videos on it. So it's some vanilla missionary position with the lights off shit. No, but I mean, come on, like, doggy isn't really kinky, is it? Like a cowgirl isn't kinky. A couple different positions, that's not kinky shit. That is still vanilla. A German with no fetishes, I can hardly believe that. Yeah, it's mostly our porn, and I don't know if I haven't seen that much weird porn, to be honest, in Germany. A German called something slightly kinky. Germans are on par with Japanese and slightly kinky. Well, I don't know. One of the worst fetishes must be cuckolding. Yeah, I don't know. I think eating shit, other people's shit, or drinking their vomit. Oh god. Oh god. Okay. Drinking their vomit. Those are worse than cuckolding. How about ice cubes? Never found them interesting, to be honest. If we become immortal through AI and uploading our consciousness, we will have to pay licensing fees to remember copyrighted works. I don't think at that point copyright will be a thing. But I don't think that, like, the thing that people always get wrong is that they say we will become immortal through AI. And I mean, certainly there will be some people who upload themselves into AI, and there will be other people who don't do that, and they get into other paths. People always want the answer to what will people be like in the future, and the answer is, like, all of the answers are correct. There will be people who go into a completely artificial world of their own creation and forget that they were ever humans. There are going to be people who create multiple copies of themselves as in AI and send them into different solar systems. There are people who are going to just remain human. There are going to be people who become furries. There are actually going to be real life fucking furries. So, yeah. But what do you think of the idea that when we die, our consciousness is moved to another version of ourselves in another reality, assuming the multiverse theory is true? No. Even if multiverse theory is true, that's not the same thing. Because that consciousness was already there. It was an identical consciousness to ours, but it was a separate consciousness to ours. Much like if now a perfect copy of me would be created, it would be a different person than I am. It would be a different instance of consciousness. It would be an identical one, but you wouldn't say that two identical chairs are the same chairs just because they are identical. I am ENTP. I too am ENTP.
Hey Burger, let's make a Let's Play series in Minecraft. It's no longer mainstream, so you can safely do it. I actually wanted to do that a while ago. I don't think I will, though. What if reality is a chain of universes that intersect and no one on one end is total abyss and the other is utopia? And it all just loops back in on itself like a hyperstructure. I think you're sucking that out of your ass, man. Once genetic alterations allow for extreme cognitive advancement, should it be left up to the free market, or should there be an effort to advance everyone equally to prevent extreme inequality? I think there should be a middle ground between the two, because it's not a binary type deal. There should be a free market, and there also should be regulation of that free market, and there should eventually be a socialized system when we get the chance to do that. For those who want it. But there will always be difference. Like, we can't... I don't want everyone to be just held back so that everything can be advanced equally, and I don't want just rich people to become gods. Because they're rich, and with no one to ever be able to do anything against that. I mean, I basically, like, the latest short story I released was about a similar thing where... And I'm going to make a video about that soon. Where essentially... If you have a rich person who has access to an AI, they win. Like, they can do whatever the fuck they want. You can never rebel against that. As long as furries aren't overly public with their sex life, I'm fine with it. Just go to a space station where there are no furries. There's not going to be no shortage of those. AR furry sex filters. Those are going to be a thing, yeah. I am INTP. Yeah, I know INTPs. I am INTJ. I know INTJs as well. I find it fascinating that INTJs are usually portrayed as like the fucking nerd kind. What I really find fascinating is that INTJs are portrayed as like... They are definitely Machiavellian, but Machiavelli was not an INTJ. He was an ENTP. He just saw the things for what they were. And he put himself in the shoes of the INTPs, and that's basically the INTJs, and that's what ENTPs basically do. When advances in text allow us to finally have good 3D Sonic, you will be able to be Sonic. But if the multiverse theory is true, we may live in a version where we are immortal because we can't feel being dead in all the other versions. Yeah, we might be living in a version where we are immortal, but we're not, apparently. There might be a version where everyone's immortal, but that doesn't seem to be the case in the real world, right? At least that's I think what you means. What you means. It's getting late. I'm gonna finish the stream in 2 minutes, so get your last questions in. And get me them watch minutes. I want them watch minutes, boy. This stream is actually, at this point, 126 hours has been watched of this stream already. My autism isn't that strong. Jesus Christ. I would be the bigs in the what? That common multiverse theory interpretation is wrong. That's not what many worlds interpretation says. Burger, when the next stream? I mean, it's going to be tomorrow on Twitch, and otherwise it's next Tuesday. Thursday. Thursday is the right word. Thursday. Every Thursday. Bionicle Channel, please. I will get to that. Glad I made it, Gremblo. I'm glad you made it as well. Will you do fast food on Thursday for Thursday next week? Yes, I do fast food Thursday from every week now on. Would you read this? No. Tomorrow, when Mindburger? It is 2000 CEST. It's on the Twitch page. If there was random other universes that opened into this one, would you go into it though? Probably not. Why would I? Is that OJ behind you? Yes, that is actually OJ behind you. As soon as I end the stream, he's gonna kill me. So next week's stream will just be me dead. But there will be a stream. What is the Discord? It's my Discord server. Good stream. Thank you very much. Thank you for the good stream compliments. I'm gonna kill the stream now. And I will see you all next week or tomorrow if you see me around. And also there will be a video on the weekend. In that spirit, I love you all. And except you, Mark. And Mark Mikolai I do like, though. It's the other Mark I don't like. And see you around, cunts.